Now let's work through the Discovering Midpoints activity. So the first question we're asked is, what is the midpoint of line segment AB, where A is at -6 and 9 and B is at -6 and 3. So we see A and B. So the midpoint would simply be halfway along the segment. Since this line segment is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units long, the midpoint is going to be at half of 6, which is 3. So if we go down 3 units from 6 and 9, -6 and 9, our new coordinates for our midpoint will be -6 and 6. So how can the midpoint be determined using a mathematical calculation instead of just counting the number of squares? Well, in this case, the x value didn't change. The y value was simply the average of the two y coordinates, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So 9 plus 3 gives us 12, divided by 2 is 6. So now we're going to practice finding the midpoints of vertical line segments. So we'll punch in our y coordinates. y1 is 7, y2 is 4, y1 is 6, y2 is 4, y1 is 2, y2 is 6, y1 is 4, y2 is 1. We hit submit, and now we can add them up. 7 plus 4 is 11, 6 plus 4 is 10, 2 plus 6 is 8, 4 plus 1 is 5, and now we need to divide by 2. So 11 divided by 2 is 5.5, 10 divided by 2 is 5, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. And our answers are all correct. Now we will look at horizontal line segments. So what is the midpoint of AB, where A is 2, 1, B is 8, 1? Well, the midpoint again is going to be right in the middle at 5, 1. So again, for a horizontal line segment, we simply take the average of the x values of the endpoints. So x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So let's practice. Here x1 is 4, x2 is 1. x1 is 3, x2 is 1. x1 is 5, x2 is 3. x1 is 5, x2 is 6. Now we need to add 4 plus 1, 5, 3 plus 1, 4, 5 plus 3, 8, 5 plus 6, 11. Now we need to divide. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So with diagonal line segments, again, just like when we discovered the length of a line segment in the previous activity, we're going to combine horizontal components and vertical components. So first we're going to find the middle of the x values. So x1 is 3, x2 is 7. Adding those together, 3 plus 7 is 10, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now we'll find the middle of the y's. y1 is 2, y2 is 8. Adding them together, we get 10 divided by 2 is 5. So if we examine the steps again, we were able to find the midpoint at 5, 5 by taking the average of the x values of the endpoint and the average of the y values of the endpoint. So the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 over 2 for the x coordinate and y1 plus y2 over 2 for the y coordinate. So now we'll practice with a couple of examples. Here, x1 is 3, x2 is -3, y1 is -5, and y2 is 1. Adding up, 3 plus -3 is 0. Negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. 0 divided by 2 is 0. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So our correct midpoint for the line segment from A at 3, negative 5 to B at negative 3, 1 is 0, negative 2. In this example, x1 is 4, x2 is 6, y1 is 1, y2 is negative 4. 4 plus 6 gives us 10. 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Negative 3 divided by 2 is negative 1 decimal 5. And that's our midpoint for the line segment AB.